Hey everyone, thanks for joining. Of course, back here with Justin. Got two-part video today. We're going to talk about kind of college esports. A lot of questions, people wanting to get Justin's kind of views on where college esports is going. So we'll talk about that kind of growing industry, and then definitely going to touch on the financials that were reported a few weeks ago. Pretty outstanding ones. But first things first, Justin, how are you?
Good, Jace. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. No complaints. No complaints. Starting to feel like summer up here in Ontario, so things are good.
Nice. I like it.
But here, I guess, without further ado, a lot of questions just in general about the kind of college esports industry. Do you want to talk about it in general, and then of course we'll roll that into kind of how Gamesquare maybe is looking to play in it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think, college esports probably took a little bit of a hit through COVID just because of kids not being on campus. So, a lot of the tournaments that were happening obviously weren't able to be live, but, obviously there's the virtual online, streaming, but that world took a little while to pivot from some of these bigger tournaments that were happening physically. I know last time we sort of spoke about this and not collegiate, but the Fortnite World Cup, for example, the momentum that was built there a couple of years ago, having to cancel that event, I think that did affect college esports. But I mean, overall, I'd say the growth, not just college, also high school and grassroots esports I think will be exponential. I mean, you look at, what some of the salaries are of these pro players now, and that's only going north. So the grassroots is an area that you will I would say start to see a real focus on. I know a number of colleges are giving out scholarships. They have esports facilities. They're building out large scale tournaments. So I think it's here to stay, and I think it makes a lot of sense. Right, this is becoming mainstream. This is a new form of entertainment, the esports industry itself. So moving away from just sort of casual gaming and streaming, the esports pro part industry itself, is continuing to grow rapidly in terms of eyeballs and dollars spent and prize pools. And I think you'll see that come back even harder now. I think the industry did really well to pivot to virtual tournaments, but I think it's going to only be strengthened by people being able to come back and actually see live tournaments. Which kind of dovetails pretty well into the deal that we were able to do with GCN. GCN were able to do with Van Wagner, where we're running, the biggest esports collegiate tournaments ever done, NCAA, I think across 110 colleges across the US. It's starting virtually later this month, but we're very hopeful that they will move to campuses and be able to host live esports tournaments and events in the coming months later this year. That's over the next 2 years. And there's actually 2 national championships. So super exciting. I mean, I think we're going to start to see that more and more, right? Like really large scale esports tournaments and events, through some of these, big traditional colleges that are, seeing the real growth of this space.
Yeah, I think you touched on a lot of good points. And really, at least I look at it. I know we got questions. Seems like there's more money, going to it from scholarships. I know someone commented and said, "Hey, UBC." He said he plays a lot of League of Legends. Said UBC was kind of the first one to be giving out some scholarships, and now you're seeing it kind of across the board. I know you see it in a lot of different esports. From sports games to Call of Duty to League of Legends, you name it, is there, which is pretty interesting. And you even touched on the prize pools growing, so everything's looking a lot more interesting. Viewer counts seem like they're going up. So in your eyes, like, hey, this is a growing space. It looks like it's, finally here. Viewers are there, supporting's there. The schools are supporting it a lot, it seems like today. Anything else you would kind of add on?
Totally. Yeah, I mean, that's 100% right. And I think what we'll start to see is there's this really big gap between, the pro players and players that were able to compete for real money, and then these casual gamers. And there's so many casual gamers out there, and this really small percentage of pro players. And I remember at FaZe Clan, every kid is commenting on all these posts. How do I join FaZe? How do I become a pro player? And the path to getting there was somewhat difficult. And I think that's something that we'll start to see, right? It's like when you you're a high school footballer, your aim is to go to a Div 1 college, or to a college that has a great program, to then be able to get drafted. And the path to actually becoming a pro is clear. Whether you get there or not's another thing, but the path is clear. And I think that's something that we're going to start to see. And we're starting to see that through a lot of grassroots programs, through high school, collegiate, and I think that's going to just continue to grow.
Yeah. No, awesome. Well, look, I think that's a great touch on kind of the college, esports industry. And of course, if anyone has any more questions, please drop them below. Yeah, we're definitely, I guess, bullish on that industry for sure. And Gamesquare has some exciting partnerships already in place and launching some pretty big tournaments. So keep on the lookout for that. But here, moving on. Financials. Number one, congratulations. Holy smokes. I'll read the headline and then maybe you can take it from there. But Gamesquare Esports reports 97% year over year revenue growth in Q1 2021. Wow. First things first, like I said, congratulations. Do you want to talk about some of the things that led to this? And then of course we'll take that all the way through to how do you expect to kind of keep this momentum?
Totally. So, I mean, expecting 97% growth every quarter is not realistic, but Q1 97% growth year on year is extremely pleasing, especially given COVID. So that was, and we touched on this in a previous interview, but that was reflective of Code Red, our UK influencer agency. So we've talked about the reciprocity transaction that we did, bringing in the 3 additional assets. Those assets, so the 4 altogether from a consolidated standpoint, will actually be reflected in our Q2 results, and then we'll start to look at being able to talk about where we think that we can get to for the 12 months moving forward. We're yet to do that. We do feel really bullish about where we're going to get to, but we want to record our first earnings as a consolidated group first. So getting back to the Q1 results, reflective of Code Red's performance, I mean, we're really happy with how they're traveling. We expect a really great year in terms of revenue growth from them. As we talked about, to be able to post 97% growth through COVID from a year-on-year perspective, having obviously pre-COVID last year and then having to deal through COVID this year, being an influencer agency is really impressive. With obviously we talked about live events and tournaments not taking place and it being virtual. So to see that level of growth is extremely satisfying, and actually did come from the growth of our influencer segment. We've been able to sign a number of additional talent to our roster, but also what's really pleasing is the growth in our consulting business, and that's really where a lot of the margin lies within Code Red, our business. And some of the really cool, interesting work we've been doing. I'm not sure if we touched on it last time or not, but we have a contract with Bud Light Europe, and we're doing a lot of consultancy work there, which has been a great one. We're looking to continue to grow that part of the business. So the growth with Code Red, I'd say it's not necessarily going to be 97% every quarter in terms of growth, but we feel really comfortable. Q2's been traveling along well, and we feel really comfortable about where we're going to end from Code Red's perspective for the 12 months. In relation to GCN and Q2 and posting our consolidated financials, feeling really good about those guys. Their pipeline is incredible. So we're still sort of working on the title sponsor for the NCAA tournament we were talking about before, and we have a couple of other big announcements, I think, coming in the coming months around some big deals. So excited about those announcements, but also about where we're going to get to for year end. Still really confident. Obviously not giving numbers at this point, but still really confident that those guys are going to hit and hopefully exceed their earnouts for the year. So I guess if you work backwards from understanding the growth within Code Red, understanding the earnouts there, we're looking we're in a really nice position from a financial profile and from a growth perspective. So yeah, to touch on your point of how do you maintain that growth, I mean, for us, it's not necessarily about just hitting direct revenue growth numbers. It's really about laying the foundation for sustained and continued growth and working on really groundbreaking, interesting projects. And that's really what we're doing. Is really, our pipeline is incredible at the moment. And again, excited to share that in the coming months. It's really about laying the foundations, and the monetization will come. We're not necessarily looking at 97% growth every quarter, but we feel extremely comfortable about where we're going to end up from a financial standpoint, as well as the makeup of those financials. We talked about it before. We're not going and buying revenue. We're not going and closing deals for the sake of it. We're very strategically and purposely going about the right types of deals to build this business in a sustainable way.
Yeah. Look, I touched on some pretty exciting points. Exciting pipeline, knock on wood. So it sounds like hopefully some good updates to come. Awesome. Again, congratulations on a crazy quarter. And I think you touched on too, you signed some great influencers, done some cool consulting. I think this is the first time you've mentioned Bud Light. So that's really interesting. Obviously, I can only imagine we're going to get some questions about it, but maybe we can cover that another time. Anything else about your quarter or financials you wanted to kind of talk about before we close things off?
No, I mean, I think revenue growth was great. Code Red performing extremely well. We feel that getting to profitability as an org is important to us, and we have some high margin projects coming up in the future, and we feel pretty comfortable that we're going to get to a really nice path to profitability this year with some really healthy revenue. So we're really excited and looking forward to be able to continue to update people on the progress.
Yeah, awesome. Well, if anyone has any questions, please drop them below. Justin, thanks so much for another awesome video, and look forward to chatting again soon.
Thanks, Jace. Appreciate it.